Hello everyone. Welcome to YPA Bharat Daily News Recap. Let us begin class of 13 August. The first article is related to release of uh, an autobiography of former President Ram Nath Kovind. Prime Minister Narendra Modi released the autobiography, and the autobiography is titled Triumph of the Indian Republic, My Life, My Struggles. So, this will be important for your prelims examination. Shri Ram Nath Kovind served as the 14th President of India from July 25, 2017 to July 25, 2022. Prior to his presidency, he had a distinguished career as a lawyer and politician, and he served as member of parliament in the Rajya Sabha and as the governor of Bihar. So this will be important. Then, moving to the next article, renewal of MOU for One Herb, One Standard initiative. The Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicine and Homeopathy, which comes under the Ministry of Ayush, and Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, they have renewed their MOU, and this is for the continued implementation of the One Herb, One Standard initiative. This initiative is important as we know that India is promoting its traditional system of medicines, which includes Ayurveda, Siddha, Sova Rigpa, Unani, and homeopathy. And these are the vital components of the country's extensive knowledge, tradition, and its heritage of medicinal plants. And the One Herb, One Standard initiative, it aims to harmonize the standards for traditional Indian medicine products. So, thereby they enhance their global acceptance and ensures patient safety. So, the key aspect of this initiative is strengthening the quality and credibility of our traditional medicine system. So, this will be also important. And as we know, we have discussed many a times that Ministry of Ayush, it was launched in 2014. So, the date is also important, and India is promoting its traditional system. So kindly like and subscribe our channel. Join us on all our social media platforms. You can download the daily current news recap from our YouTube channel description. And these magazines are very important for your exam. मैंने कई बार बोला है कि इनके अलावा आपकी मंथली मैगजीन्स हैं, फटाफट मैगजीन्स हैं, जो कि आपके एग्जामिनेशन की नीड्स को ध्यान में रख के हमने प्रिपेयर किया है, और ये काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है। अगर आप डेली न्यूज रिकैप पढ़ते हैं या देखते हैं सिंपली, तो आपका जो एक कनेक्टिविटी बनी रहती है और एग्जाम टाइम में आप काफी कॉन्फिडेंस फील करेंगे और आप एग्जामिनेशन में एक बेहतर परफॉर्मेंस आपका रहेगा। तो आप हमसे से ज्यादा चैनल पे कनेक्ट होइए। The next article was related to the information which was given in the parliament by the government about the promotion of Indian languages through AI and digital initiatives. Our National Education Policy 2020 emphasizes on multilingualism and promotion of all Indian languages. In line with its goal, the Government of India has launched initiatives for the education, preservation, and research of Indian languages. Government of India has initiated the Bharat Gen project, which is a multi-modal large language model which aimed at creating efficient and inclusive AI solutions for all 22 scheduled languages. अब जैसे कि हमें पता है कि हमारे यहाँ 22 शेड्यूल लैंग्वेजेस हैं, तो किसी भी भाषा को आपको समझने में कोई प्रॉब्लम ना हो और सबके लिए इजीली एक्सेसिबल हो, तो एआई का इसमें यूज किया जा रहा है। जैसे कि मान लीजिए कोई तमिल स्पीकिंग पर्सन है, कोई तेलुगु स्पीकिंग पर्सन है, सो हिंदी नहीं आती है, या हिंदी स्पीकिंग है उसको मलयालम नहीं आती है, तो जो भी इस प्रोजेक्ट के थ्रू किया जा रहा है कि जो भी चीजें हैं उनको इजीली ट्रांसलेट करके और उसमें एआई का यूज किया जा रहा है, जिससे लोगों को इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस को समझने में आसानी रहे। अगर किसी और अलग भाषा में है उसको भी इजीली लोग समझ सके। So this will be very important for the our language system. And to support content translation into Indian languages, technological advancement like AI tools are used. There's a name is given Anuvadini. It is developed by the All India Council of Technical Education and Bhashini, an initiative under Digital India program. Bhashini has developed advanced AI model for Indian languages through collaboration with over 70 research institutions. Central Institute of Indian Languages. It comes under Ministry of Education and it has partnership with NCRT and it has created a fundamental foundational uh, primers and linguistic data sets for various tribal languages also. मतलब ना सिर्फ जो शेड्यूल लैंग्वेजेस हैं 22 उनकी ट्राइबल लैंग्वेजेस को भी प्रमोट करने के लिए उनका भी एक डेटा सेट जो है वो दे आर प्रिपेयरिंग विच इंक्लूड्स संथाली एंड CIIL has introduced a 12-week Santhali language course on the SWAM platform to encourage mother tongue based education. So all these informations will be relevant for your prelims examination. They can ask about Anuvadini or Bhashani or SWAM platform or simply about the 22 Indian scheduled languages and how government is promoting these. तो ये आपके लिए important रहेगा. The next article is related to Grameen Gyan Setu initiative. It is a newly launched initiative and this is a digital library network launched by Union Minister Amit Shah on August 12, 2026. This connects 752 rural libraries across the Gandhinagar Lok Sabha constituency in Gujarat with 4 major central libraries and it holds 2.80 lakh books to expand rural book access. मतलब इसमें क्या है कि ये एक community driven project है which aims to establish a library within every village across the region and by providing books and reading materials in local communities it encourages the nature of it encourages the habit of reading from a very young age. So ग्रामीण ज्ञान सेतु इनिशिएटिव चूंकि ये अभी लॉन्च हुआ है तो ये important रहेगा. Then the next article is related to Parliament has passed National Cooperative Development Corporation Amendment Bill 2026. Earlier it was approved from the Rajya Sabha and the bill was introduced by Murlidhar Mohol, who is Minister of State for Cooperation, and the bill aims to further broaden the scope of corporation activities, allowing it to engage in the sector of industrial goods. It empower मतलब ये empower करता है state governments को to channel funding from the corporation to any entity which is involved in cooperative development. So now the corporation is authorized to provide direct loans मतलब ये direct loans provide करेंगे grant provide करेंगे to any cooperative society or entity which is committed to cooperative development and it will enhance the welfare and economic empowerment of millions of families across India by strengthening the cooperative movement in the country. So as we know that Ministry of Cooperation, it was added in 2021 and अभी जो गवर्नमेंट है इसका एम है कि कॉपरेटिव्स को ज्यादा से ज्यादा इंक्रीज किया जाए अभी जैसे हमने भारत टैक्सी लॉन्च की इसके जैसे ओला उबर इन पे जो कंपटीशन है इसके अलावा और भी काफी सारी इनिशिएटिव जो है वो लॉन्च हुई हैं जिनके थ्रू कॉपरेशन को बढ़ावा देने का गवर्नमेंट जो है वो अपना वर्क कर रही है. The next article is related to Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Bill 2026 and it has referred to Joint Parliamentary Committee for detailed examination. The bill proposes further amendments to the existing Foreign Contribution Regulation Act of 2010 which aimed at enhancing transparency and accountability in the utilization of foreign contribution. जो foreign से contributions आते हैं जो fund आते हैं गवर्नमेंट का कहना है कि इसको ट्रांसपेरेंट बनाने के लिए ये अमेंडमेंट ले आया गया है बिल में बट इसका अपोजिशन काफी विरोध भी कर रहा है डिफरेंट डिफरेंट स्टेट से। और इनका कहना है कि जो हमारी माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटीज हैं उनको ये कहीं ना कहीं इफेक्ट करेगा। सो गवर्नमेंट हैज रिफर्ड इज दिस टू जेपीसी एंड the JPC will comprise a total of 31 members। ये क्वेश्चंस भी कई बार पूछे जाते हैं जो पार्लियामेंट्री कमिटीज होती हैं उनमें कितने मेंबर्स होते हैं। तो in this committee there will be 21 members nominated from the Lok Sabha by its speaker, and 10 members will be nominated by the Rajya Sabha by its chairman, and it has given the task of submitting its report to the house by the final day of the first week of the upcoming winter session, which will be start in December. So, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, it is a crucial legislative framework in India, and it is designed to regulate the acceptance and use of foreign contributions. And the organizations which are registered under FCRA are typically non-government organization and charitable trusts. They receive donations from foreign resources, and to ensure that the fund is not misused or the fund is not diverted for anti-India motives, government has always tried to prevent the foreign funding from being used in a manner that will be detrimental or harmful to nation interest। so इसीलिए इसमें टाइम टू टाइम चेंजेस जो है वो किया जाता रहा है। और सबसे पहले ये इनेक्ट हुआ था इन 1976, देन इट वाज रिवाइज्ड इन 2010, फिर इसमें लेटर और भी चेंजेस किए गए। तो नए चेंजेस हैं उनके लिए इसको जेपीसी कमेटी के पास अभी भेज दिया गया है। Then in the parliament, government informed about the measures it has taken to combat cybercrime. According to the seventh schedule of the Constitution of India, police and public order are state subjects, and accordingly, states and union territories are primarily responsible for the prevention, detection, investigation, and prosecution of cybercrime. The central government, through Ministry of Home Affairs, supplements the efforts of states and UTs by providing policy guidance, technological support, capacity building assistance, and financial resources to strengthen cybercrime management and enforce capabilities. And it has informed that to strengthen the mechanism to deal with cybercrime, including AI enabled cybercrime, a comprehensive and coordinated manner in a comprehensive and coordinated manner, and to strengthen cyber resilience, the state government sorry for the interruption. There was some problem in the system. So, the government has set up the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, the National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal has been launched. The Cyber Fraud Mitigation Center, these has been established, and the Sahyog portal has launched to expedite the process of sending notices to IT intermediaries by appropriate government. The Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, I4C, it was established in 2018, and it is operationalized by Ministry of Home Affairs. It served as a nodal platform framework for tackling साइबर क्राइम अक्रॉस इंडिया। जैसे हमें पता है कि फेक वीडियोस फेक इमेजेस बना के साइबर क्राइम या मनी जो है वो ले लिया जाता है, बहुत सारे लोगों को इसकी वजह से इश्यूज होते हैं। तो इन सबको टैकल करने के लिए ये सिस्टम पूरा गवर्नमेंट का बनाया है। And it hosts the National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal, which supports helpline 1930 for रिपोर्टिंग फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड। तो अगर आपके साथ कोई अनजाने में फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड हो तो यू कैन रिपोर्ट थ्रू 1930। एंड सर्ट इन इट also functions under the it functions under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and it issues alerts and advisories and guidelines while conducting audits and coordinating incident responses. And cybercrime is largely governed by Information Technology Act of 2000, while newer laws such as Digital Personal Data Protection Act, it has strengthened the broader cyber governance framework. तो जो गवर्नमेंट है दे इनका ये एक एम है टू enforce responsibility, and it ultimately the responsibility rests upon the states and union territories because it comes under the seventh schedule of the India. तो मतलब साइबर क्राइम को रोकने के लिए एक पूरा कोऑर्डिनेटेड एफर्ट है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स का और यूनियन टेरिटरीज का, जिसमें इतनी सारी जो है वो एजेंसीज जो है वो इन्वॉल्व है और दे आर फंक्शनिंग टुगेदर. The next important article is related to the promotion of space technology startups in India, and DPIIT, as per its report, approximately 440 space technology setups are registered in India, and this information was given in the parliament. The Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center in Space, it has granted 113 authorizations to 52 non-governmental entities for various space activities, with 18 of being startups. New Space India Limited, in coordination with InSpace, has been instrumental in transferring technologies developed by ISRO, Department of Space, to Indian industry, who have signed 118 technology transfer agreements for 83 technologies. And the technology transfer, it includes critical space technology such as small satellite launch vehicle technology, Indian mini satellite bus, ISRO laser gyro, tri-band SX का antenna feed, ceramic servo accelerometer, X-band mini SAR, and low temperature co-fired ceramic LTCC multi-chip model technology. So NSIL or Indian Space National Space India New Space India Limited, it is actively supporting इंडियाज स्पेस स्टार्टअप्स बाय ट्रांसफरिंग टेक्नोलॉजी. तो मतलब जो गवर्नमेंट इसरो है, इन्होंने जो अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी है, जो अभी तक इनके रिसर्चर्स हैं, वो एमओयू साइन करके न्यू स्टार्टअप्स को जो है वो ट्रांसफर किया है, ताकि एक इनको सक्सेसफुली एसिमुलेट किया जा सके और इनका फर्दर कमर्शियल इनको यूटिलाइज कर किया जा सके. जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया है, इनका एक प्रोएक्टिव मेजर है टू फॉस्टर स्टार्टअप पार्टिसिपेशन इन द स्पेस सेक्टर, and space sector has been liberalized, or as we know that government has liberalized the space sector in 2020, and after that it had formed in space, which is promoting the startups. And also Indian Space Policy, it was announced in 2023, which defines the roles and responsibilities of all contributors within Indian space ecosystem. So this will be important, and government has informed that to bolster the ecosystem, 1000 crore venture capital fund has been established to support space startups, and 500 crore technology adoption fund has been launched to accelerate the development, demonstration, and commercialization of the indigenous space technologies. So these informations, and these are given by the government in the parliament, so that they will be important. Then government has informed about Samriddha program. The Samriddha program is an initiative of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology of Government of India, which aim to foster innovation and growth within the Indian startup ecosystem. Samriddh program is the startup accelerator of METY for product innovation development and growth program, and it has designed to accelerate around 300 startups, which the focuses on key sectors like health tech, education technology, agriculture technology, consumer technology, software and services, and sustainability. Over the past year, government has informed that Seven accelerators from Andhra Pradesh submitted expression of interest for the Samriddh program, and these accelerators are located in Anantpuram, Guntur, and West Godavari. The Samriddh program offer financial support of 2 lakh per startup to selected accelerators with matching funding available to startups up to a maximum of 40 lakh as per the program guidelines. तो ये important रहेगा. और till date in Andhra Pradesh, 5 startups have received support through the selected accelerator program in Visakhapatnam. Next, government informed about the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Kisan Samriddhi Sah Yojana. The Department of Fisheries, which comes under the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, is implementing the central sector sub scheme Pradhan Mantri Matsya Kisan Samriddhi Sah Yojana, which is a part of Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. And for this scheme, estimated outlay of rupees 6,000 crore has been provided, and this scheme will run for 4 years from 2023-24 to 2026-27. The key component of Pradhan Mantri Matsya Kisan Samriddhi Sah Yojana is a component 1B, which offer one-time incentive for farmers to purchase aquaculture insurance. And the incentive is structured as 40% of the premium paid with a maximum limit of rupees 25,000 per hectare for 1 lakh per farmer, covering up to 4 hectare of water spread area. Uh, Indian government is promoting the fisheries sector, the blue economy, and the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. It was launched by the government of India in 2020, and it aims to bring about a blue revolution through sustainable and responsible development of the fishery sector. तो फिशरी सेक्टर के डेवलपमेंट के लिए ये स्कीम जो है, ये योजना जो है, ये काम कर रही है. And for this scheme, a total outlay of 2,050 crore was provided over a period of 5 years. And Pradhan Mantri Matsya Kisan Samriddhi Sah Yojana, it is a key component of this scheme. So this information was provided by the government, and its beneficiaries belong to SC and ST communities as well as women farmers, and they are receiving additional 10% incentives beyond what is provided to general category beneficiaries. Then the next article is related to India's infrastructure development initiatives. As of August 2012, 2026, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban has seen the completion of 99.2 lakh 25 lakh houses, with approximately 96% of these has been allotted to women. Concurrently, under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, 3.13 crore houses have been completed out of 3.91 crore sanctioned, and nearly 75% of these sanctioned houses are registered under women's name or joint ownership. Swami Fund, it was established in 2019. It is Stressed Assets Investment Management and Resolution, or Swami Fund, was launched by the Government of India in 2019 as an alternative investment fund which provide last mile funding to install affordable and mid income housing project. मतलब जो मिडिल जो income ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट बनाते हैं जिसमें छोटे छोटे घर बने, और इससे क्या होता है कि लोगों को घर मिलता है रहने के लिए. एक गवर्नमेंट का एम है कि लोगों को घर बनवा के दिए जाए. और इसने अभी तक थ्रू दिस स्कीम 63,000 homes have been delivered by June 2026, and this is positively impacting the life of about 2.52 lakh individuals. Further, government has informed that under the Atal Mission for Regeneration and Urban Transformation and its second phase projects, which valued at around 2.7 lakh crore, has been sanctioned since 2015, and various milestones have been achieved. India's infrastructure has developed, and the current emphasis is on constructing robust and high capacity systems designed to sustain a rapidly expanding economy. तो ये भी इम्पोर्टेंट रहेगा, स्वामी फंड से या प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना, अर्बन रूरल, इनका क्या एम है, किस मिनिस्ट्री के अंतर्गत ये आते हैं, ये इम्पोर्टेंट रहेगा। और अमृत, जैसे कि हमें पता है, अटल मिशन फॉर रिजनरेशन एंड अर्बन ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, इट वाज लॉन्च इन 2014, succeeding the Jawahar Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission, and it focuses on providing basic urban infrastructure like water supply, house, sewer, storm water drainage, urban transport, and green spaces. तो ये important रहेगा. The next article is related to Ladakh's first black-necked crane festival for conservation. Ladakh is hosting its first ever black-necked crane festival, and this initiative is aimed at underscoring the critical importance of the species conservation. Black-necked crane, which is known as Grus nigricollis, it is a species of crane found predominantly on the Tibetan Plateau and its surrounding areas. Its breeding grounds are typically found in high altitude wetlands, marshes, and river valleys. द क्रेन, ये जो क्रेन है, अंडरटेक सीजनल माइग्रेशन, मतलब ये मूव करती है सीजन के अकॉर्डिंग। विंटर्स में ये लोअर एल्टीट्यूड पे आती है, फिर समर्स में हायर एल्टीट्यूड पे जाती है, और इसका जो प्राइमरीली ये डिपेंड्स अपॉन प्लांट रूट्स, स्मॉल इंसेक्ट्स, स्मॉल फिशेस, frogs, and aquatic life, and its conservation is crucial. This is अभी under IUCN list near threatened category में है, अब ये enlisted है, और इसको, इसके बारे में अवेयरनेस बढ़ाने के लिए जो लद्दाख है, यहाँ पे कंजर्वेशन एफर्ट्स जो है वो इसको चलाया गया है। और ये एक इनॉग्रल फेस्टिवल हुआ है, जिसे कि एक काफी क्रूशियल प्लेटफॉर्म माना जा रहा है। और एंड इफ यू टॉक अबाउट, देयर आर 15 crane species which are found worldwide, and black-necked crane uniquely stands as the only alpine crane. In India, its exclusive breeding habitats are the wetland of Sokar, Henley, and other areas within the Changthang Cold Wildlife Sanctuary, which is situated an elevation ranging from 2,500 to 5,000 meters above sea level. तो ये वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी का लोकेशन ये भी पूछा जा सकता है। And globally, the population of black-necked cranes is estimated to around 16,000 individuals, which are distributed across eastern Ladakh in India, Bhutan, Nepal, and China. And after the formation of Ladakh as a union territory, the black-necked crane was officially designated as its state bird. So this is a recognition of its ecological, religious, and cultural significance. तो कभी कभी they ask about the reason state birds or you associated birds, या फिर इसका नेम भी आ सकता है, कहाँ ये ज्यादा पाई जाती है, माइग्रेशन पैटर्न इसका, ये जो all these information are important for your prelims examination. The next information is related to why elephant population. As we know that World Elephant Day, it is annually observed on 12th of August. So this time also it was observed, and India, which is home to nearly 60% of the world wild Asian elephants, it highlights its vital role in global elephant conservation. Elephant holds deep cultural significance, and they play a vital role in healthy ecosystem. As a keystone species, they sustain forests, support biodiversity, and maintain ecological balance. The synchronous All India population estimation of elephants SAIEE 2122 estimate that in India there are 22,446 wild elephants present. These are protected across 33 elephant reserves and 150 identified corridors. And in India, conservation address efforts Conservation efforts address habitat loss, fragmentation, poaching, illegal wildlife trade and human elephant conflict. तो ये काफी इंपॉर्टेंट रहेगा. कई बार पूछा भी जा चुका है कि वर्ल्ड एलिफेंट डे कब सेलिब्रेट होता है. In India, the elephant conservation framework is anchored in Project Elephant and it was launched in 1992 by the Government of India as a centrally sponsored scheme. The Asian elephant is classified as endangered on the IUCN Red List. Among the 13 range countries where it occurs, India has the largest population. तो important रहेगा. And elephants in India receive the highest legal protection under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, which prohibit its hunting and trade. India also participate in the monitoring of illegal killing of elephant, which is MIKE program. तो ये पूछ सकते हैं कि MIKE program किससे associated है, which comes under sites, which tracks poaching trends. Similarly, SAIEE exercises a multi-state coordinated survey which uses standardized methods to provide the scientific data for policy and management. तो ये important रहेगा. और जैसे कि अगर आप background information और keywords को देखें तो keystone species ये काफी important रहता है कि what are these keystone species? These are the species whose presence and activities significantly shape ecosystem and support biodiversity. तो अगर कोई की स्टोन स्पीशीज खत्म हो जाती है तो उसकी वजह से और भी सारी जो स्पीशीज होती हैं उनके लॉस का खतरा होता है. तो ये काफी इंपॉर्टेंट होता है इन टर्म्स ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी. So this was the information regarding the daily news recap of the 13th August. Kindly join, like and subscribe our channel. Connect us with on Instagram, on Facebook, on Telegram and download our daily recap magazine which is very important for your examination purpose and we will meet in our next class.